Once, a little girl was playing with her friends, laughter echoing through the trees as they danced between the shadows. She didn't notice when one of them strayed too far into the forest. By the time she realized she was alone, the sun had dipped below the horizon, and the creeping darkness swallowed the last traces of light. Panic set in. She called out for her friends, for anyone, but her voice was swallowed by the endless maze of trees. Her knees scraped against jagged rocks as she stumbled blindly, her feet blistered and bleeding. Sweat and tears streaked the dirt on her face, but she kept moving, clinging to the hope that she'd find her way home. Then she heard it, a faint rustling behind her. At first she thought it might be the wind brushing through the leaves, but the sound grew louder, closer, deliberate. Her breath caught in her throat. Some primal instinct screamed at her not to look back. She remembered the stories, whispered in warning around campfires, tales of the cursed heart of the forest, a clearing no one was ever meant to find. Locals avoided it as if an invisible force turned their steps away. Children who boasted they'd find it always returned, pale and silent, their courage stolen by something they refused to name. Strangers who wandered too far simply vanished. And now, as she stumbled forward, the trees suddenly parted, revealing a barren clearing bathed in cold moonlight. Her heart sank. The ground was lifeless, the grass brittle and gray. The trees circling the clearing loomed like skeletal guardians, their gnarled branches clawing at the sky. The air felt suffocating, heavy with an ancient, unspoken presence. Her pulse thundered in her ears as she realized where she was. This was it, the heart of the forest. A sharp crack shattered the silence. She froze, her breath hitching. Slowly she turned around. A figure stood at the edge of the clearing, half hidden in shadow. It looked like a woman, tall and slender, with long flowing hair that moved unnaturally in the still air. For a fleeting moment, hope flickered in the girl's chest. Maybe someone had come to save her. But something about the figure was wrong. Its stillness felt deliberate, its presence oppressive. Then it moved. The woman's motions were stiff and jerky, like a puppet yanked by invisible strings, and with each blink of the girl's eyes, the figure was closer. When the moonlight finally illumined her face, the girl's blood turned to ice. The woman's features were a grotesque parody of humanity. Her pale, waxy skin looked brittle, like porcelain stretched too tightly over her skull. Dark, hollow sockets stared where her eyes should have been, and her lips twisted into an unnatural grin, a joyless expression that mocked the very idea of emotion. The girl tried to scream, but terror locked her throat. She spun around, ready to run, but before she could take a step, icy hands clamped onto her shoulders. The grip was unrelenting. As cold and unyielding as iron, she thrashed and twisted, desperate to escape, but the hands held firm. Then she felt it. Beneath the woman's skin, something moved. The girl's heart nearly stopped as she glanced back and saw, beneath the porcelain-like surface of the woman's face, shapes writhed and squirmed. Her entire body seemed alive with a crawling, shifting mass, as though thousands of tiny creatures slithered beneath her flesh. The woman leaned in, her frozen grin stretching wider. Her frigid breath brushed the girl's ear as she whispered,
"Do you want to feel what I feel?"
Before the girl could scream, the movement began. It started under her skin, a writhing, churning sensation that spread like wildfire. Her body convulsed as she felt them. Spiders, centipedes, ants, beetles, countless legs crawling inside her. They burrowed into her veins, scuttled beneath her eyes, slithered into her ears. She clawed at her arms, her legs, her face, desperately trying to rip them out. Her nails cracked and bled as she tore into her flesh, but it was no use. They were everywhere, filling every inch of her body, scratching against the edges of her sanity. Her mouth opened in a silent, agonized wail as the creatures overran her. Tiny legs scuttled behind her eyes, scraping her mind raw. She fell to the ground, her body writhing in pain, her nails breaking as she clawed at her face and limbs. Above her, the woman stood motionless, her grin unwavering. The moon bore silent witness as the girl's body convulsed and thrashed. Her screams turned to ragged gasps, then to feeble whimpers, and finally, silence. When they found her the next morning, she was barely alive. Her skin was a tapestry of bloodied scratches and torn flesh. Her nails were broken to the quick, and her hands shook uncontrollably. But the most horrifying sight was what she clutched in her left hand, something she refused to let go of, no matter how hard they tried to pry it from her fingers. It was her own eye,